Welcome to BP Rising, everybody. We are an online day trading community that teaches people how to day trade stocks. I'm doing a video on Bitcoin. I want to talk about the crazy madness we've seen in the market with this recently, and specifically the smaller cap stocks that have jumped on the Bitcoin train and tried to claim to be Bitcoin related. We're seeing several different ones, and they're popping up every day. We've seen some big runners running hundreds of percent. A lot of times it's these small floats that are targeted because they can move so big. But it's been crazy. And the bottom line is that most of these are not Bitcoin related at all. They're just changing the name of their companies. They're putting out press releases that mention Bitcoin or mention crypto or mention blockchain. Those are the hot terms. And it's blowing up their stock, and they're probably taking huge stakes ahead of time. They put out the press release, and they're probably banking and selling big to the retail chasers that are going to be the ones that end up holding the bag on all these. Uh, and what a lot of people don't realize is it's not just humans that are jumping on this. It's the algorithms. It's the machines that are reading and they're seeing anything Bitcoin and they're buying up like crazy. So that's part of the problem, is that they automatically are just jumping on these things, and it doesn't matter whether or not it's legitimate or it's a fraud or it's just straight BS. These machines, they're going to jump on it. And then what happens is retail traders, human beings, they see it, they see the movement, they jump in, they want to ride the train. Problem is, a lot of them, they get in, they might be up a good bit of money, but then they hold it too long, they get greedy, and they wait for the crash to come when everybody wakes up and comes back to reality, and then they end up getting crushed. The smart money will sell when the stocks are up big, and they take their cash before that crash happens. And we've seen today there's been some pretty good selling, pretty good correcting on several of these small cap names. And I want to go ahead and go over a few of these, because some of this is just a complete joke, and it's just almost laughable. Actually, it is laughable. I've been laughing a lot lately when I see these things come out. But some of these stocks, for example, are Elfin, L-F-I-N. It was a small cap stock that ran, here you can see it ran nearly 2,000% after acquiring a blockchain company, okay? But when you look in a little closer, the CEO, Zidu, is what this company supposedly bought. But when you dig in a little deeper, you find out that the CEO of Longfin owned 95% of Zidu. So basically, they bought they bought his own company. In my opinion, just to basically put out a press release that had blockchain in it, so the stock would blow up. He claims he can't sell his shares. He claims that he's in a lockup period, but the SEC doesn't actually require the lockup period on IPOs. It's actually the company and the underwriters that usually set that in motion, because they don't want the stock to drop. They want the stock to continue to go up. So it remains to be seen as to whether or not this guy unloaded everything and took the profit, or if he really has to hold the stock. You probably won't ever know, but there's a good chance that this was orchestrated. There's a good chance that this was set up, obviously. Um, anyway, the stock ran up big, and then of course it started to crash once people started to realize what was going on. CNBC started to attack it. They had the CEO come on, who was very, very defensive, by the way. And I'm sure the Fast Money crew was probably short, because they don't come out and blast companies that often. Uh, but Elfin, that's one example. And if you look at the chart here, you can see that in the last 5 days, you can see it just exploded. Actually, it was the last 10 days. Exploded. The IPO came out. Nobody was interested. Then that PR came out about the blockchain related deal, and explodes. Algorithms just started hitting it. Retail traders started hitting it. Blew it up, and then of course it's getting crushed now. It'll probably end up back at 20, which is my price target, and then it'll go lower. Okay, let's check out another one that was ridiculous. Long Island Iced Tea. Okay, an iced tea company, Long Island Iced Tea Company, blows up after they changed their name. They changed their name. That's all they did. to long blockchain. All right, and the company just blows up. All right. Uh, I mean, it is madness. It's absolutely insane. Rose 289% after the unprofitable Hicksville, New York company rebranded itself as Long Blockchain. So all you have to do to get algos and retail traders to jump on something out of control like a bunch of wild kangaroos is to mention blockchain. Just mention the word. All right, and so that's what happened. It blew up. I mean, it's a non-alcoholic beverage company. It's just insane that this is even allowed to go on. This company should be investigated, and if it's found out that they really don't have anything to do with blockchain, that is fraud. I mean, that's misleading investors. That's misleading people to believe you're something you aren't. That is fraud. So if these companies are claiming Bitcoin, claiming blockchain, talking about cryptocurrency, and it turns out that they're not, that is fraud. And the company should be investigated, and the company should be shut down if that's found out to be the case. Are some of these legit? Are they really trying to go into Bitcoin? I'm sure some of them are, but I think the majority of these are complete BS. Complete and utter BS. All right, let's look at another. This might be my favorite right here. A fruit juice company. Okay, the ticker used to be SPU, Sky People's Fruit Juice. All right, this is a China company. It's always been shady. It's on my sketch list, which is a list of shady stocks that I pay attention to. I've shorted this in the past, and it's a fruit juice company. Okay, it's in China. That's a red flag right there, a huge red flag. And now all of a sudden, they're claiming they're getting involved in Bitcoin and blockchain. I mean, you can see here's an article, Crazy Town, moving to Bitcoin that likely isn't real. Of course it's not real. This is a shady company. It's in China that is taking advantage of the the blockchain deal. All they're doing is putting out the PR to blow up their stock. That's it. There's nothing else to it. So, it's okay to ride the train and take your profits, but if you're holding this long, thinking that any of these companies have a real promise, then you're just in dreamland. And you really deserve to take a beating if you really believe that any of these companies have long-term promise. They do not. Okay, they're going to get crushed. It's just a matter of time. All right. So yeah, that's probably my favorite. A fruit juice company that's claiming to be blockchain, Bitcoin, and it's a complete farce. Okay, here's another one. NETE announces blockchain focused business unit. This thing exploded. Let's take a look at this. Net. All right, last 5 days. You can see it explodes. Blows up. Today it gets crushed. Ends up dropping. Well, it gets crushed off the high. Ended up down with 3%. But it blew up today and came down pretty good. Dropped pretty good off the high. Got up here around the 34 range. And it got crushed. This has got a lot further to drop eventually. It might bounce around, might go sideways, but it's going to come down. All right, let's see. Let's see now, crypto-based ecosystem. And a lot of this is forward-looking statements. I mean, they're saying things like we're going to get into the business, or we're thinking about getting. If you really read through it, these companies aren't even involved yet. They're just talking about future statements of what they're supposedly going to do, which they'll probably never actually do. And once the trading interest disappears, they just fall back down to where they were basically. All right, let's see what else do we have here. Okay, here's another one. Riot Blockchain, RIOT. This stock, like a month or so ago, was a biotech. It was a biotech, and all of a sudden, it's Riot Blockchain. I mean, that should be a huge red flag right there. They're changing their name, so it sounds like a blockchain, which is hot, and and it's getting blown up, and it's complete baloney. All right, and Citron, Andrew left a Citron. He came out and tried, and it was talking about this, and a lot of people have, come out and CNBC, and they've been talking about this and how this is super suspect and is probably going to get crushed, and it has been getting crushed. And it's been hard to get borrows in a lot of these stocks. Brokers conveniently are out of shorts, which I find to be, a little bit convenient that they just happen to be disappearing. but the shorts are tough to get. You got to have certain brokers that deal with small cap shorts to even get a position. I had a hard time finding Riot as far as shorts, but I was able to find some puts. It's got options, and some of them have wide spreads, but I was able to attack some options on Riot puts and make some solid money on betting against this thing. This thing probably still going to drop a good bit. I mean, the entire move probably is bogus. Okay. Next, let's go into XNet. This is one of my favorites. I've made some big money on this as well, shorting and doing put options. And this is a China stock, so again, if it's China and small cap, big red flag. Just right off the bat, just know that. This thing is definitely shady. From the beginning, had a huge move. Cloud-based, was claiming to be Bitcoin related or whatnot. And the fact of the matter is that China is not even necessarily allowing the type of things that XNet was supposedly involved with, and there was all kinds of things out on Chinese websites that were discussing this, but people still were buying it. The machines, the algos were still loading it up because of Bitcoin, 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 and this blew up, and then of course it's been getting crushed. China is still up in the air as far as what they're going to do with this cryptocurrency stuff, and so then finally, when people realized that, the thing got crushed, and now it's way back down from the highs. I'll pull up the chart real quick. Here we go. Last month, this thing, well, what's it been, 3 months now? Yeah, I mean, this thing blew up, you can see, and came down hard, and it's been getting crushed. So, you can make some good money if you get in on this early, but that's the hard part, is getting in early before it happens. Then once it's blown up, you're chasing the thing, and then you get crushed on the downside. So that's the good thing about shorting. If you miss the upward move, you can still catch it on the downside and make some bank. Yeah, so anyway, so that's another one, XNet. Let's go in here. Here's another one. NXTD is, here you go again, announces cryptocurrency retail payment platform. Are they really going to get into this? I don't know. It's possible. It's complete baloney. But chances are they're just trying to capitalize on how hot the Bitcoin term crypto blockchain has been, and they're blowing up their stock. Now, I'll tell you this. Today, very conveniently, after it explodes, they announced a public offering of shares, or like I like to call a public robbering of shares at $4 discount. That makes you really question the whole thing, because it blows up, and then there happens to be this offering. I mean, obviously, this is most likely orchestrated and set up to blow it up so you can get a higher public offering price, and then it gets crushed. And we'll probably hear nothing about cryptocurrency going forward with it. They achieved their objective, which was to get a higher public offering price, and this thing will probably fade and start to drop off going forward. It's going to bounce around. Day traders are going to attack it. Algos will still mess with it. But is it bogus? Probably. Okay, what else do we got here? Actually, let's pull out that chart real quick. And it's funny, I've been getting a lot of people blowing me up on message boards and emails and things. I call them crypto bros, and they're the crypto fanatics. I'm not knocking Bitcoin itself. I actually like it. I think it's interesting. I think it's got some potential, but it's these specific stocks that are claiming to be Bitcoin related that I'm attacking. It's not Bitcoin itself. Okay, I think that's very interesting, and the government eventually wants to go into digital currency at some point because it's a pain to track cash. So we're headed that direction. I even saw on CNBC, somebody was, I think it was Art Cashin, he was discussing how the Federal Reserve might actually come up with their own digital currency, because we're already headed into credit cards, and debit cards, and we're getting into these chips and things. People don't want to deal with cash, and the government can't track cash as well. So they're already moving this direction. So it's not that I don't think Bitcoin has a future. It's that these farce stocks that are trying to jump on that bandwagon, and some fraudulently, misleading investors and traders. That's what gets me mad. That's what I want to expose. Okay. So I just want to make that clear. But on the NXTD chart here, you can see it blew up today. It's blown up the last 5 days. It's been running with all the rest, and it made a good move. And it's been hard to find short. Actually, had a hard time finding any borrows in this. It's tough to find them, and if there's not options, you really kind of have to sit on the sideline and watch it. You can go long, but you can see it ran big. Somebody was pushing this up. Probably hedge algos. I'm thinking some big fish were moving this thing, controlling this thing, because they knew the offering was coming. So somebody was controlling this thing to get it up higher so they could offer higher. They blew it up, and then came the news about the public offering, and it was $4. You could see it dropped. And I told my crew, it's probably going to fall right to the 4 area where the offering price is, and it did. Boom, came down to that 4 and then bounced off of it exactly as expected. All right, so that's another one. And what else we got here? Oh, SSC. This was another one that ran recently. Yeah, this blew up on some supposedly Bitcoin talk as well, and I think it was a joke. You can see it got crushed today, but yeah, it ran up, followed all the other movers as well, and I can't remember exactly what the news was that they claimed. It says they take a large stake in blockchain, 27% stake, 27% blockchain alternative trading system, 1 million shares. So, what some people do, what some companies will do is that they'll actually take a stake in something blockchain related so they can blow it up and they'll sell it. Whether or not this is legit or not, I have no idea, but it's shady, and people know that, and that's why it's kind of coming down. Yeah, so you can see on the 5-day chart, 1-month chart. Yeah, it's running up some pretty volatile. A lot of these move crazy back and forth because of the size of the float. Under 10 million floats, they're just crazy. They can move hundreds of percent. So it's most of these happen to be low floaters because those are the ones that can blow up the biggest. But yeah, so this is just a few examples. There's other ones too. There's GBTC, that is a over-the-counter market, supposedly ETF deal for Bitcoin that's been going up like crazy. Let me pull that up. This thing's shady. It'll probably get shut down at some point. You can see this thing's blowing up. You can see it ran up huge, and I mean, look at the price. 1,772. It was up to 3,500. Over-the-counter market, which majority of those stocks are scams. There's some legit ones. What else? I'm trying to see if there's some other ones off the top of my head here. DPW, that was another one. Let's check that one out. DPW. Oh, wait a second. We got a bunch of 4-on-4s here. Ah, some acquiring. $1.38, 500,000. Let's see. Oh, there's some more here. Let's see what's going on. Okay, so $1.38. Some insiders have been acquired 100,000 at $1.30, 11.28. Oh, that's a while back. See, the inside. This is showing from 11.28. The insiders loaded this thing up, a bunch of shares, before the big move. See, now the 4-on-4s are coming out. See, this is what I'm talking about right here. It's no coincidence that these insiders were taking. Look at this. Yeah, see, 100,000. I mean, that they were acquiring shares, stock options here down here. So you can see stock. They were acquiring different, and look at the price: $1.38, 11.28 before the move. See, they knew this was coming. They knew this was coming. DPW. Here's another one: CCIH. Again, China, shady China stock. Let's go back here. Let's go back 10 days. Okay. This thing was $1.06. It blew up. Okay. Let's see what we got. CCIH. Yeah, this was some baloney. I think somebody just mentioned on a message board that this was the only China stock that was going to get approved to be blockchain or something like that. I think somebody just said it on a message board. I don't think they even had news. It blew it up. And then conveniently, their earnings happen to be out today, and they're no good, and the stock's dropping after hours. Is that a coincidence that it got blown up right before their garbage earnings? I don't think so. This stock should go back to where it was. It should go back to $1, or it should go back even further because of the baloney move. The move was such baloney that it should drop even below 1 because people should realize how much of a sham this move was. All right, so yeah, so CCIH. There's another one. Trying to think if there's anything else. There's definitely more, but that's all I can think about at the moment here. So that's a good list for everybody. Bottom line is a lot of these are going to drop even further. They're going to get crushed. So hopefully everybody, lock in their green, taking the money. If you were long and profitable, take the money. Don't be the bag holder that holds it until they get crushed and gives back their entire gains. Look for the short plays on these things. Could Bitcoin go higher at some point? Yes, it could. Is it in a bubble? Yes, it's in a bubble. This is a bubble. Um, the smart money is going to wait, let this come down. If they like Bitcoin, they're going to let all these things come down. Not these small cap shady stocks, but they're going to let the Bitcoin correct, and they're going to get in at a lower price. It's never smart to chase the top of these huge moves because there's going to be a lot of selling, there's going to be a lot of shorting, and it's going to correct. People are going to take their money, especially the whales. When the whales get in with heavy algorithmic buying, they got to sell at some point. They know there's no promise in these companies. So of course they're going to sell everything. They're going to take their money and they're going to leave the retail traders holding the bag. So be smart, you know. Just want to see if there's anything else I wanted to discuss. Oh, yeah, the media in general. Things like this come in cycles. The media loves to. They were talking about Bitcoin. I mean, they were just all over Bitcoin. And, that causes that kind of brainwashes people. It kind of gets them to start buying, and then algorithms pick up on social media and things, and they start buying up big. And the media is a big part of the reason as to why this blew up, because of how much coverage they gave this. So it's funny, they were really, really bullish on it. It's going to the moon. I heard, Jim Cramer, Bitcoin, Bitcoin, Bitcoin. It was almost as if they were using brainwashing tactics back from the damn, world from Germany days, where they would brainwash the kids. I mean, that's almost what it feels like. It feels like the media has been brainwashing people, getting them to just buy this up like crazy, like zombies. And then what's funny is that now you're starting to see that once it's been blown up big enough, there's no more money to be made moving up. So what happens if you want to make money? You got to make it on the downside shorting. So now all of a sudden the media, you see that they're conveniently talking more negatively. They're coming out with, they're mentioning LT and Riot and how these stocks are scams, and you see scam, scam, scam all over CNBC today. You can see the media changing its tune, and now they're part of the reason it's starting to drop. So see, they're involved with this, and they're long and then they're short, and they're definitely going to put out what's going to benefit them and their friends and their connections. So just be careful, watch the media and pay attention to what they're doing, because they are controlling our thinking. All right, so just pay attention. Okay, I think that's it for now. I hope this helped, and if you have any questions, always email me, bprising1@gmail.com. I'm happy to answer any questions you have. And always consider joining our trading room at bprising.com. Learn how to day trade stocks, learn about all these scams, learn about how you can short and capitalize on them. And until the next video, I really appreciate everybody watching. Have a great one. Thanks.